All right, so let's put all this together into some practical application and go ahead and work with this new tool that I have. The first thing we're going to want to do is open etc EOS. Now I have a desktop link, but I also have the link here. And if I scroll down, I'll see where it says etc, and if I open that, I will see Launch EOS Family 3. If you're a Mac user, you may find this in your applications, and let's just click on that and we'll start our application. The first window that I'm going to get is going to be this etc Nomad shell. We discussed what the settings do. If you want to rearrange your monitors, you can come back and do that later. If you want to just start from the very beginning, we're going to click this offline with Viz. Now it's going to say visualizer output only mode, and that it's that was my cat on my Mac. You'll just say okay, right? So now it'll go ahead and start the light board, and it's going to start, and it's going to have nothing, but it'll show you the two tabs that you have here, right? The two tabs we discussed, the live summary tab and the PSD tab, and we can just click on either one of those to do that. Now what we want to do is open a show file. So I have given you a file on Canvas to download. Let's open our browser, and we can open our browser in several ways. I just use this little triangle that's in the lower right hand corner to open the browser, right? We could also use our virtual keyboard, open our virtual keyboard and say displays, and that'll open, and now we can, to get rid of our keyboard, we can click away from it. I'm going to expand by clicking the little caret here, the file. I'm going to go down and I'm going to expand my open. I'm going to look in my show file archive or wherever you have downloaded your file. And now I have a bunch of files in here, but I'm going to scroll down until I find the Light Lab base file. And I'm going to just double click on that. Do you really want to open the file? I'm going to leave all of this selected, and I'll just say OK. And now it's loading that show file. I have loaded now my intro file. It's now open. And I can close my browser or minimize my browser to give me more screen space. So it looks like I've got a few cues that are recorded here, right? The next thing that I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and go into my snapshot one so that my visualizer shows up and that my screens are configured. So to do that, I open my virtual keyboard and I go to snapshot one, and you'll see this appear over here in red. Snapshot one, enter. And it will configure my displays in this configuration. And the way that this is set up is that I have my live summary here. I have my cue list here. I have a virtual keyboard here, and I have the visualizer down below. And what that allows me to do is to work and actually see what's turning on. I can go ahead and say one full, enter, and now you can see that this light is turned on and channel 1 is at full. I can now say 2 full, enter, and now channel 2 is turned on. 3 full, enter, and channel 3 is turned on. And if I want channel 3 at less, I can say at 50, enter, and you can see that it's dimmed by half, right? So whatever we're doing, we can see what's going on out here. Now if I want to say 1 through 3 out, they all have turned off. 11 through 23 full, enter, and now those have all turned on, right? So it's a way that we can control whatever we have going on. Now I can say record. Now I already have several cues here. I'm going to record cue 7, and you can see it in the command line, record cue 7, enter, and now it has moved me into cue 7. I can hit backspace and it fades me back into the previous cue. I can hit back again, and it fades me into Q3, back again into Q2, and back again into Q1, which is nothing but a blackout, right? So these are cues, right? And if I want to play my show, I just hit the go button and I go to, it advances to Q2. I hit the go button again and it advances to Q3. Now Q3 is set at a time 5. I could make it time 0, enter, and now you can see that Q3 is a time 0. Let's go back, and now I'm going to play into Q3 and it will bump on, right? So that's time parameters for cues. This is all great. So now I've done all this. Now I want to save my show. To save my show, I need to go back into the central intelligence area, right? Or into my browser. And I can do that again in several ways. I could select my displays key, which is right here on my virtual keyboard. I could open my virtual keyboard and my displays key is a little bigger. Or I can even open this little triangle at the bottom, which will open my displays area. And it leaves me right where I was, which was in open. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to want to close my open tab and open my save as tab. I will save as in my show file archive. And what I'm going to do is just double click on the show file archive. Double click. Do you really want to save? I want to go ahead and save with my augmented 3D model, and I say OK. Now it asks me for the name of my show. So I'm going to use the keyboard here, or I can use the keyboard on my computer, and I'll backspace through this. Careful if you don't backspace too far, it'll just drop you out of it. And I'll say tren, right, lab patch, right? And that's going to be my show file name. And I'll say enter and save success. And if I scroll down my save as list, I should see it's probably in another directory. Light Lab base file. Oh, it's under tren. There it is, right? tren lab patch. So there is my file that's saved. Now I want to exit this software. I'm going to minimize this and I'll see exit right here. I click on exit, double click on exit. Do you really want to quit? Okay. And now it's going to close that. Now you think everything is done, and then our shell pops up again. From shell I could go into settings and general, right? And it's where I should be able to set my tab. I'm not seeing that right now, but I have in the past. Network, right? I think I have a dongle set up in this, which is why. Anyway, in the shell is where I could configure the number of windows that I'm running. Oh, and here it is, the full screen offline editor option, right? So here's the option if I wanted to change to dual monitors. Once I'm done, I can say accept, and it takes me back here. And to end the program completely, simply close this window. That's a brief overview of how to use the software.